Welcome back to the table and a little bit more board game news. This is an old game that is brand new again. In fact, it's going to be coming out in January. It is Grande.
Yeah.
This is a game that came out in 1995.
Like 15 years old, that makes it.
Your math is wrong. Your math is wrong. It's almost 30 years
Oh, 1995.
old.
Yeah, you're right.
1995, almost 30 years old.
Jeez, that's crazy.
It won the Spiel des Jahres in 1996. This is a game by Wolfgang Kramer and Richard Ulrich.
Yeah.
This is a classic. I've never played it, and I have a story about that. So back before I played board games, in my old job, there was a guy, shout out to Ken Schmidt, who was the board gamer at the office, and he brought in board games all the time, one of which was El Grande, and he always tried to get people to play. This was before the hobby had taken off, and it was way before I wanted to play board games.
Yeah.
And I remember him trying to start to teach this, and I was like, no, this is too much. And it's not even that much.
It's not even, not looking at it now.
This game is pretty simplistic, really, as Euros go. But this is sort of the granddaddy area control game, and it's still, I think, holds up. I'm looking forward to playing this, but it's coming out in a new, not deluxeified, but it's definitely got better components. It's going to include 2 like little mini expansions.
We don't know how deluxeified it is, to be fair. I mean, they haven't shown a lot of pictures of what the components are going to look like yet.
I've seen some footage of it. I mean, it's a board game. It looks better than the old one. In fact,
well, the artwork is definitely upgraded.
If you want to see a comparison, this is the old one. And this is the new one.
I really hope you edited that right.
This is the, I'm sure I edited it right. I planned to do it to begin with. But you can see just from the covers how this has a more modern look
love that
feel.
new cover. Yeah, it definitely feels right along like with the Grande cover, like Darwin's Journey. Like I like that style of cover. I like this trend too. Like this game is so old. Like there are people coming into the hobby even that are like Ticket to Ride feels old. This is a super early in hobby board games.
This is older than my children.
Of course, like as people might not even be aware of, like this hobby of board games kind of like really took off in Germany like back in the 90s anyway, and that's where a lot of like the games that we play now come from. So like those games still hold up. There are so many of those great original Euro games that are still so good, but I don't play them. Most people don't play them just because you've got to go dig them up. You got to go find them, dust them off, like you deal with the old, outdated look of the game. So the fact that they're doing this, and we've seen a couple other old games get this like revitalization as well, it's really a positive thing. Like I think that this is going to be really good for the hobby.
Yeah, this is one of the more straightforward Euros. I mean, if you've never played it, it is a straight up area control game. And I do want to point out, even if you don't like area control games, and I'm not a big fan myself, I do want to try this one again when it comes out because it's got an interesting mechanic where there's these decks of cards at the bottom of the board and you flip over the top card and those are your actions for that round or that sort of phase of the game for everyone. And then there's sort of like a bidding mechanic to see who goes first. And then I don't know that this was the first, but it's one of the first games that included a tower. It's not a dice tower. It's not anything like that. But one of the things that you score during the 3 scoring phases is the castle. You also score all the different regions, but the castle is this big, tall tower, and there's an action that you can take throughout the game where you can put cubes in that, but you can't see it.
Right. It's
so
hidden,
over time, people are like, I don't know, do I still have as much in there? And the first thing you score typically is the castle. You open it up, you see what's in there. That, like at the time, again, today, that's like, okay. I mean, there's a lot of games that have that sort of fanfare. But back then, that was a really cool reveal sort of moment for a game.
Have you seen the new tower yet?
I have seen pictures of the rule book showing the tower constructed. It is a more interesting looking tower. If you've ever, in fact, if I find an image of the old tower and show it to you right now, it's about as straightforward as you get. It was 4 pieces of cardboard put together really tall.
Well, and this is going straight to retail. So like
this is going to retail.
They've obviously kind of had that. I'm sure they had that discussion about whether they wanted to kickstart this or whatever. Sure. I'm glad that it's going straight to retail.
Yeah, it's refreshing to see a game like this come back. And like I said earlier, it's going to come with 2 mini expansions that apparently weren't
these are brand
available. I don't know if they're brand new because I think you did a little research and saw there was a big
box.
I
remember when the big box came out. That was like back in 2015. That was pre-MVM when that big box came out. And I remember seeing it, but I was new to the hobby too. In 2015, I was playing Ticket to Ride and Catan. So seeing that, I was like, maybe that was a bit much. I don't know, but
Yeah, well, it's a pretty dry looking game. The old one is very dry. Again, here's the picture. Here's the new one. But anyway, if you have any questions about El Grande or anything else that's been happening in board gaming, let us know in the comments below. We'll get down there and answer whatever we can. Until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.